So I was going through major burnout during the pandemic, okay, and I think that's when I sort of, I'm sure.
All of us.
I started in the last quarter of 2019, so I had a heads up before the pandemic. But I was so drained out that I thought I wouldn't continue working in this industry that I am, and cut to today. Hi, my name is Raunaq Bajaj, and I'm a producer.
How does it feel to win an Oscar in your 20s?
Just holding that Oscar felt like weight of the world, so to say. With Elephant Whisperers, the amount of time we took, it's actually longer than generally you take when you're doing a commissioned documentary, right? And we are aware of that. Through those years that we're making the film, we're aware that this is taking longer than usual. And suddenly you're just looking back at those moments saying, wow, we didn't even know what was happening at that point of time. Because for us, we were just making a family story, you know. The elephants and Bowman and Belly are a family, Raghu and Amu. So yeah, that's what it is.
So you started working pretty young. What was that one advice from your seniors back then that you still value the most?
You could come to office, waste 6 hours a day and work in the last 2 and, you know, max out as much as possible. Or you could work 7 days a week and you know that, but both things should be a personal choice, you know. Even now, in fact, when I have a long run of, you know, maybe shoot or overworking, blah, 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 it becomes very important for me to take 2-3 days off. Just maybe I'll work a little bit from home, but just take time off. And I think it's important to have that balance to give to yourself.
How can aspiring filmmakers connect with the right people?
Find the work that you like and then connect with those people, right? Because for some reason, somewhere something's going to click. You should have an insight into it. You should, why did you like what you liked? You know, even if it's a slapstick commercial film or a, you know, left off screen film or something like that. So I think it's finding those people and connecting with those people first, because you'll automatically have some common ground. I know lots of people say, no, cold calling doesn't work, cold, you know, reaching out doesn't work, but there isn't any other way.
What do producers exactly do on a project?
I'll explain it in corporate terms. They're a manager. Essentially, they're a creative and a financial manager of the project, right? And I am an associate producer, so I work with both the executive and the line producer to see that things are going in line, right? I also like, out of choice, like working with the director closely, because you get to see how the director is shaping whatever project you're doing with them.
What's your take on trusting the process?
So I was going through major burnout during the pandemic, okay, and I think that's when I sort of, I'm sure.
All of us.
I started in the last quarter of 2019, so I had a heads up before the pandemic. But I was so drained out that I thought I wouldn't continue working in this industry that I am, and cut to today, you know, the things and the projects that I've managed to work on are just wonderful, you know, in that sense. So what I ended up realizing in that downtime was that I'm not getting into films or this industry in any form or manner to make one project and, you know, your life entirely changes. That's not the point of being in any department of filmmaking. I think it's about, you're in the lifestyle of making films, right? You need to you don't want to make a film, make some money and just retire at 30-35. You want to be making films hopefully till the day you die.
What is something you were all for in your 20s which has now changed for the better?
I'm somebody who's an unhealthy overworker, frankly, right? Like, I have achieved only 20% of balancing time that I wish I had. And I think that was something that I was very proud of when I was in my early 20s, saying that, you know what, this is how it is and this is my lifestyle, and, you know, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to work 20 hours a day. I'm not going to eat on time. I'm not going to sleep on time, which sounds very exciting when you're young, but it really doesn't make any sense. You know, you need to have a schedule, a plan for your day all the time, and achieve whatever it is you want to do through your day through that. So I think that is something that I was very proud of. And I've realized that you have to have a method to the madness. You can't just... Madness is great, and what we do is madness.
Filmmaking is a collaborative process. I wanted to know, how do you align different minds to one vision?
There's never a wrong idea in the room, you know. The oldest or the youngest person could throw a line and that could, you know, somewhere add value. And I think that's the environment I also try to curate on anything that I'm producing. I always say, you ask me about producing also, a lot of producing is just people management. Wherein, you know, if this HOD is in conflict of a thought with the director, I just need to make sure if they don't organically come to the same page, I have to make sure they come to the same page. Because it's in the better interest of the project. Yeah.
At the red carpet of Oscars, how was it finally meeting your stars in person?
I met 3 people that I was very excited to. I met Harrison Ford, I met Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and I met Riz Ahmed. And Riz, of course, because I know of his music from before, Sweat Shop Boys. So I was talking to him about that, and he was very kind and asked me my name, and I obviously, like a fool, I said, hi, I'm this one, and he didn't hear my name, and I just started talking about his music because I loved his music. So these are the 3 people that I was excited to meet and excited to talk to, and have very brief conversations with them, and it was very exciting. Yeah.
A quick question: since you love sci-fi, Marvel or DC?
Marvel. There's no competition with DC. Don't talk about DC. Marvel. It's only Marvel. The Marvel studio head Kevin Feige's story is my favorite. Like this century's producer story, right? He somehow convinces somebody like Marilyn Lynch, this banking organization, to give him $500 million in 2006, and then by 2012 he's paid it off, which he was supposed to pay off by 2022. Honestly, although I mentioned these names, the people I wanted to meet was him, Steven Spielberg, and James Cameron. Like these, because I love sci-fi. So I someday I want to make something like that.
Does fame change the way you create things?
You shouldn't let that drive your thoughts, your conversations, your creative energy, your anything at all. Because then suddenly you lose objectivity. And I think anyone that loses objectivity in a creative process like ours is not going to then make a very balanced, wholesome project. That's not something that I want to do at any point of time. So yeah, I think this has just reminded me why it's important to be more humble and continue being humble in whatever you do. Yeah.
What is the best thing about filmmaking?
My favorite part of filmmaking is, I think, the fact that so many people for some reason are okay to believe in your idea and turn up on a day of shoot and do it. Whether it's one day of shoot or whether it's like 50 days, 100 days of shoot, and I think just seeing people come together like that, focusing on that positive energy becomes very important. I think that's why you do some things that you do, right? You should, by the end of your project, by the end of your shoot, however the film does, however it fares, whatever reviews it gets, whatever money it makes, that's all not in your control. What is in control is this group of people, how you feel towards the project, etc., etc. So I think that is something that's my favorite part of the process for sure. Yeah.
Like fully.
So, and the other thing to keep in mind is also that you have to maintain a bit of professional boundary. By that I mean that, like, if I meet Steven, sorry. You win this one. I did it. You win this one.